Greetings, I'm Brian with BCTI, and in this video we'll take a look at reducing dashboard size by combining 5 charts into a single geographic space. What I mean is we'll present the viewer with a single chart but allow them to pick the story that the chart tells. An added feature to the chart will be dynamic chart titles. We'll also provide the user with a convenient method for changing the sort order of the chart results. This is especially useful when developing dashboards for users who may not be very Excel savvy. To achieve this behavior, we'll utilize the following Excel features. Dynamic array functions for calculations. These will allow us to write a single formula and generate multiple results. Data validation drop-down lists for user selections, and dynamic formula-based sorting of results based on user input. So let's dive right in. Be sure to download these files that include the starter file so you can build this project with me, as well as the finished solution file if you want to get quick insights into a specific feature's construction. Step-by-step instructions for developing the solution are also included. In our starter file, we've got 4 sets of just typed in data. We've got the quantity, the discount percentage, the tax rate, and the cost. And we need to create some extended calculations from this data. The subtotal, the calculated discount, calculated tax, and then finally the totals. So to do this, we're going to utilize some of Excel's newer features using dynamic array functions. Dynamic array functions are going to allow us to write one formula and have it generate multiple results, so that way we don't have to create potentially hundreds of the same type of formula. So to begin with, for the subtotal. For the subtotal, we're going to start with an equals, and we're going to highlight all of the quantities, not just the first quantity, but all of the quantities. And we'll multiply that by all of the costs. And when I hit enter, we get multiple results. So this one formula creates what's called a spilled array of results. Now for the discount, we're going to say equals, and we're going to click on the first subtotal. But because I want all of the results, I'm going to add a pound sign after that. And that tells Excel to get everything generated by that formula, not just that one cell. And we're going to multiply that by all of the discount percentages. Press enter, and we get all of the discounts. Now for the taxes, we're going to say equals, and we need to, in parentheses, because of order of operations, we need to take the subtotals, and I want all of them, so I'll add that pound sign, and deduct from that the discounts, and I want all of the discounts. So again, another pound sign. Close parentheses, then we'll take what's left over and multiply that by all of the tax rates. And when we hit enter, we get our tax calculations. Finally, for the totals, we'll say equals. We want all of the subtotals, so add that pound sign. Deduct all of the discounts, again another pound sign, and then add to that all of the taxes. Press enter, and there are all of our totals. So with 4 formulas, we were able to generate multiple answers. This list could have had hundreds of line items. We still would have created only 4 formulas. Our next step is to provide the user with a drop-down list to allow them to pick from one of these categories of data. And so that's going to be cost, subtotal, discount, tax, and total. So we'll go over here to cell I8, and we'll go to data and then data validation. We're going to allow from a list, and the source of that list is going to be these 5 titles. So this is what the user will pick, which will then feed the appropriate column-based filter to the upcoming chart. So we'll hit OK, and now to test this, we can see those items. So I could pick subtotal, or I could pick tax, or any of the items. Now comes what I think is the most important part and the coolest part of this little project, and that is generating the source material for the chart. A lot of people think that you would build the chart from this data set here, but that has more information in it that I want. The only thing I want is the list of the states, and then the numbers from whichever column corresponds to the user's selection from that data validation drop-down list. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a series of functions to figure out what the user picked, bring back these state names, and then bring back only the column that corresponds to the user's selection. So to start with, we need to have a heading for the values that are being returned. Well, the heading is just whichever word is in this set of cells that corresponds to the user's choice. Well, the heading is just whatever the user picked from this dropdown. So in cell B8, we can say equals, and then just point to that cell I8. And when I hit enter, I see the user's selection reflected here. Now to return all of the states and the values that match the column heading of the user's selection, we're going to write one formula that does all of this. So in cell A9, we're going to use a combination of an XMATCH, a CHOOSECOLS, and a sort function. So let's start with just the XMATCH. So we'll say equals XMATCH, and we want to match whatever the user picked in cell I8, comma, and then see where that word is located inside of these cells, the first row of the data. And I'm highlighting all of those cells, not just the ones we want to look through, but all of them. You'll understand why in just a second. And when I hit enter, it says discount was found in the 7th column, because here's discount in the 7th column of this set. If I were to go up here and change this to cost, it would find it in the 5th column. Or if I changed it to total, it finds it in the 9th column. So now we know which column holds the numbers, but how do we then get those numbers? There are a lot of different ways that you could retrieve this information, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use a CHOOSECOLS function to feed it this entire table and then say, give me the first column, and then if they pick total, the 9th column, or if they pick discount, the 7th column. So going back into cell A9, I'm going to go in front of that XMATCH and I'm going to wrap that inside of a CHOOSECOLS function. So CHOOSECOLS says, what columns do you want me to choose from? And this is going to be everything from A2 all the way to I6. So this is everything below the header row. We'll type in a comma. Which columns do you want to return from that array? Well, I always want the first column, so I'm going to type in a hard-coded 1. But the next column I want will be the position discovered by XMATCH. So if that was discount, that would be the 7th, so I would get the 1st and the 7th. But if I chose tax, it would be the 1st and the 8th. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with a nice closed parentheses for the CHOOSECOLS. And there we have the state names, and in this case, the totals. If the user were to go over here and switch that to cost, it would be the state names and the cost. Or if I chose discount, the state names and the discounts. These results are just in the same order that they appear in the table. Now, luckily for me, my table is in alphabetical order by state. But what if you wanted these values to be sorted, say, in descending order by the discount or by the total? So let's go back to that formula, and we're going to wrap this CHOOSECOLS XMATCH formula inside of a sort function. And so for the sort function, we're going to take the results of the CHOOSECOLS XMATCH, and let's say that we want to sort this by the discount column in descending order. Well, whatever is in that second position is what we want to sort in descending order. So we'll put a 2 for the index position or the sort position, comma, and then we tell it that we want to sort in descending order, and that's going to be a -1. So -1. Close parentheses, press enter, and now this is sorting in descending order by discount. If I were to change this from discount to subtotal, it's descending order by subtotal. Of course, total, descending order by total. Now our dynamic chart title. You can take a chart title and link it to a cell so that whatever the cell says, the chart title will say, but you're very limited on how you can design that chart title in terms of putting it inside of a shape with specific borders and colors and things of that nature. Charts are very limited in that regard. So one of the tricks that I like to do is I like to add a shape object. So in this case, I've added this rounded rectangle. See, you can't do a rounded rectangle. You can't create a rounded rectangle as the chart border in the actual chart title. So I've created this little shape. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to link that to a cell that's calculating a title. So down here in cell A17, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, let's go ahead and start with an equals, and let's take whatever the user selected in cell I8, and then we're going to concatenate to that, so that's an ampersand, some text, and all text goes in double quotes. And the text I'm going to concatenate to is by state, because all of this is by state. End double quote, and when I hit enter, I get total by state. So if I were to change the category dropdown to subtotal, it would be subtotal by state or discount by state. Now to get that into my shape object, I can go click on the shape object and then go into the formula bar, type in an equals, and then click on the cell with that generated title. And when I hit enter, I get the discount by state. Now I formatted this, so yours might be just simple black text in a small font, but you can click inside here and you can go up to home and you can adjust the font style and color and all that to make this look pretty. So now when I come over here and I change this to tax, it's tax by state. But if I change it to subtotal, it's subtotal by state. And that's going to serve as my dynamic chart title. Our next step is to create the actual chart. So we're not going to pick the data source, the original data source, we're going to pick the derived data source. So let's go ahead and highlight all this information from A8 through B13, and then we'll go up to Insert and then go into our Charts section. And you can pick whatever chart that you like, but we'll go up here and I'm going to pick a clustered column chart, which will be this one. That creates a very basic looking chart. Now I'm going to perform a little bit of customization on mine and beautify it a little bit. Now all of the different things that I just did to my chart I'm not going to cover in this video, but it's standard chart customization. I added some data labels, I drew a border around them, I changed some colors, I added a gradient shade to the bars, and then removed the grid lines and the y-axis. So you can beautify your chart any way that you like. But the main driving thrust of this project is to get that chart to change what it says based on the user's selection. Well, because I'm pointing to that derived data on the side, the user can now go up here and they could pick something like tax, and they could get a tax chart. But if they pick cost, they get a cost chart. And if they pick total, they get a totals chart. All of these charts are being displayed in descending order by the values. Well, what if the user wants to look at the chart in ascending order, or if they want to look at it in alphabetical order based on the state name? So let's now spice this up by giving the user dynamic sorting functionality. The task here is to give the user a drop-down list to select from. So in cell I9, I'm going to go up to Data, Data Validation, and I'm going to validate against a list. Now in this list, I want the user choices to be 3 words. Now I'm going to place these words right in the source field instead of creating a list off to the side and pointing to it. So the first thing that I want them to have a choice for is going to be ascending with a $sign, comma, the second choice, descending with a $sign, and then the third choice is alphabetical. I'll hit OK, and so the user now has ascending by dollar value, descending by dollar value, or alphabetical. And I'll go ahead and pick descending by dollar value. So how do we get the chart to react to this? Well, we're not really getting the chart to react to this, we're getting the derived data on the side to react to this, because that's where the sort logic is. If we go back to cell A9, we have our sort function here, and the sort function says let's go ahead and sort in either ascending or descending order by a specific column. So really we have to change 2 things in this formula. We've got to tell it, are we sorting by the state names or are we sorting by the values on the right? And then whichever of those we pick, are we going to sort in ascending order or descending order? So let's first tackle the column selection. Obviously, if the user picks alphabetical, we want state. But if they pick any of the other choices, either ascending by money or descending by money, we want to sort by the values column, the second column. So we're going to replace that hard-coded number 2 with an if statement. And we're just going to say if the user choice in cell I9 is equal to the word alphabetical, then we know they want the first column. So comma, pick column 1. Otherwise, pick column 2. Close parentheses. Now let's just test that facet and see if it's working. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. Now remember, everything is still in descending order because we haven't made that portion dynamic yet. But if I go up here and I were to pick alphabetical, everything's in alphabetical order. Now it's in descending order, but it's still alphabetical. And if we were to change that to descending, then it will be in descending order by value. So what we need to do now is we need to make the ascending descending selection dynamic. So back in cell A9, we're going to take this hard-coded descending option, and we're going to replace that with an if statement. To make this a little easier to read, I'm going to extend my formula bar down, and I'm going to add a little carriage return action here. So the sort says, take all of this and sort it. This first if is then what's deciding which column to sort. Our second if will be to decide whether we're doing it in ascending or descending order. So we'll take out that hard-coded -1. I'm going to drop down another row, and we're going to write another if. And we're going to say, hey, does A9 equal descending? Because if they pick descending, I want to go in descending order. But if they pick anything else, I want to go in ascending order, either by value or by state. So I only have to check for one thing. Well, if they pick descending, then I want to perform a descending sort, which is a -1 argument. But if they pick anything else, it's going to be a +1 because that's an ascending argument. So we'll put another closed parentheses for our if, go ahead and hit enter, and I just realized it's not descending, it's descending $sign. I forgot my $sign, so let's try that again. That's a little better. So if they pick ascending, it's ascending order. If they pick descending, it's descending order. And if they pick alphabetical, it's ascending, but it switches over to the first column for the sort instead of the second column. So now the user can pick any of these 5 categories. They can decide whether they want to go alphabetical by state, or ascending by state, or descending by state. I have provided the user with drop-downs for these choices, and I think a drop-down is good for the category, but it may not be the best choice for the sort order. If this was the real world, I would likely use something like those circular radio buttons where the user could just very quickly switch between ascending, descending, alphabetical without having to hit a drop-down. But form controls is a whole nother lecture for another video. And for right now, just to keep things simple, we'll just go with a drop-down. But feel free to jazz this up with any type of user input control that you understand. So there you have it. 5 charts in the same geographic space as a single chart with dynamic titles and the user's ability to control the story being told and the sort direction. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, and don't forget to download this file from the link in the video description so you've got the solution and you can go back and practice with my starter file. Full documentation is included. Thank you for watching, and remember, at BCTI, the learning never stops.